Confident Pluralism. Surviving and Thriving Through Deep Difference. Written by John D. Inazu. Published by the University of Chicago Press. Preface to the paperback edition. Are you still confident? In the 2 years since the publication of Confident Pluralism, this is the question I am most often asked. What about all of the angry and hateful rhetoric in our culture today? What about the irrational and bigoted people who aren't like us? Have I really maintained confidence in our shared political experiment? It is admittedly tough to argue for greater tolerance, humility, and patience, the civic aspirations of confident pluralism, in our current moment. I submitted the manuscript for this book on June 9, 2015. 1 week later, Donald Trump announced his candidacy for the Republican primary. Since then, the environment surrounding Trump's campaign and presidency has provided almost daily illustrations of intolerance, pride, and impatience. Many of these have come from the president himself and those who support him, others come from those reacting against him. The rest of us, even if we are not directly involved in writing the playbook of incivility, have too often been dragged into the fray. At the same time, our national media also confront increased pressures. In late 2016, I participated in a public dialogue with Pastor Timothy Keller and New York Times journalist Nicholas Kristof. Toward the end of the conversation, Kristof reflected, "If you think we did a bad job in the last 20 years, as the media collectively, then I'm afraid that we're going to do an even worse job in the next 10 or 20. And the reason is, essentially, that the business model of traditional journalism has largely collapsed." Kristof noted that media outlets are desperate for audiences, and that the best way to build an audience is by reinforcing stereotypes and minimizing nuance. This does not bode well for the future of the media, and it does not bode well for the future of our common self-understanding. And we can only place so much blame on the media. After all, we are the ones who are posting, liking, tagging, and retweeting. We are the ones driven to rage by stories that are misleadingly partisan, and at times deliberately false. We are the ones who sustain an online ecosystem that reinforces caricatures and obliterates charity. These concerns are not mere abstractions. Shortly after the 2016 presidential election, I gave a public talk on religion and politics. At one point I made some comments critical of Donald Trump, drawing largely from his own words. I was somewhat startled when a man in the back of the room stood up and started yelling at me, "Everything you have said about Trump is a lie. He was the only candidate worthy to be president." The man continued, "How much do you really know about the Clintons? I have studied the Clintons for years. They murdered 80 of their friends and associates, and we cannot have a murderer in the White House." I am not easily tongue-tied, but I was unprepared.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?